That's amazing. Yeah, we definitely have people from all over the place. So welcome everybody. As you can see, today's topic is on optimizing performance management and recognition to elevate the employee experience. So why don't we jump right into it? Today's event, as you'll probably already know, is brought to you by Bucketlist, the #1 employee rewards and recognition platform. And we also have an amazing partnership with our friends from Factorial, which is why Kaori is here with us as well. And if you don't know, Factorial is an HR software to empower your team. So we're really excited to have Kaori here with us to share the performance management side of things as well. So to kick us off, why don't we do a round of introductions? I'll start with myself. So hi, everyone. My name is Jessica. I am a workplace culture fanatic who really loves to help people thrive within their workplace. At Bucketlist here, I am an onboarding manager, so I help companies build strong internal relationships, confidence, and joy within their workplace. And outside of work, I'm really big homebody. I don't know if there's any other homebodies out there, but pretty much just like to, be at home and get the most out of, these big bucks I'm paying for my place. So might as well stay there a lot. And always love to share this, that one of my bucket list items is to be a mascot at a major sporting event. Sounds like a really strange bucket list item, but I just think it would be so cool to be in one of those costumes and nobody have any idea that it's me and, run across the field and do all that fun stuff. Now, Aaron, over to you.
First of all, being a mascot sounds like a lot of fun. So I hope that you do get to do that one day. And I don't know if anyone here is familiar with Banana Ball. I'm sure that they would be welcoming of some new mascots. So for myself here, I'm a culture advocate at Bucketlist Rewards with 12 plus years of marketing and advertising experience. I'm a strong advocate for employee rewards and recognition, but I love cultures built around fun and just being yourself. And for me, by night, dad bod, father of 3, who loves playing sports, specifically hockey. I even just started my own draft style ice hockey league, introducing even core values into the league too, so all the players are well aligned with what we're about and what's important to us. And when I'm not playing hockey, usually you can find me spending time with my family or even playing darts and or board games for my collection of, well, it's now over 150. So always adding to my board game collection. And for me, my bucket list item, I see some other hockey fans here, so I'm just going to drop a go Leafs then. So yeah, if you're not a Leafs fan, well, they're winning the cup this year. Sorry. My bucket list item is I'd love to go to Rome. I just have a fascination with the Colosseum, so I think it'd be a lot of fun to go there. All right, Kaori, how about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. So I am Kaori. As I told you, I am half Japanese and half Peruvian. I am a talent development specialist. With all my career was based on HR, and I am very passionate about the talent development. I have more than 6 years of experience in that, and I was working in Japan, then in Peru, and now I'm working here in Barcelona with Factorial, and I'm very excited about it. And also my bucket list, I think my top one, as I was sharing with Aaron, Jessica before, is to go to the Norway or Finland, or I don't know where, but in the northern countries, to see the Northern Lights. So yeah, I hope this is something that I can reach someday.
I
That's
hope you can
amazing.
too as well. Yeah, and I'm not sure. Maybe someone here has seen the Northern Lights or has been exposed to that. So hopefully you get to knock that off your bucket list one day.
Yeah. It's an awesome bucket list idea. So just a few housekeeping items before we get started here. So for the chat box, seems like lots of you are already in the chat box, which is awesome. We'd love to see it. Just make sure if you want your message to be visible to everybody, that it is selected to everyone. Q&A, if you do have any questions as we are going through the webinar today, feel free to pop them in that Q&A box so that we don't lose them. We will try to make an effort to answer as many questions as we can at the end, but we can also reach out to you afterwards to answer things as well. The third thing is we will run a couple of polls today. Polls are always anonymous, so we would love to hear what you think as we go through the polls. And then credits and recording. So we will cover the professional development credits at the end, and we will also send that information and their recording out via email afterwards. Okay, so icebreaker question to get us started here. How has performance management or recognition impacted your own professional growth? Whether it's impacted it in a positive way, maybe not so positive of a way. Would love to hear some of your answers in the chat there. Aaron, Kaori, not sure if you have anything that you can think of on your end that you want to share.
Well, first, I want to say for everyone here, if you're not shy, definitely share in the chat here. We are advocates for engagement, and certainly want you to have your voice heard and shared here as well, because we have a community here and we can all learn from each other as well. And a lot of the times I learn a lot from what's going on in the chat. So yeah, let's see. For me, well, I love recognition personally. And I love how it makes me feel when I receive it, but more so I love giving recognition and just knowing, because how it makes me feel, I know that it makes other people feel great as well. So for me, it is recognition. And by the way, it also translates outside of the workplace as well. I've found that since joining Bucketlist, I've become a stronger advocate for culture. As you've heard, within my ice hockey league, I've created core values. I feel like I'm focused more on recognition, even within my own family, sharing the great things that my kids are doing, and really calling them out on that. So yeah, recognition goes beyond just the workplace.
I love that. We have some really great answers in the chat as well. A lot of themes coming along here, pushing you to be a better person, feeling valued for your work. Kaori, did you have anything you wanted to share before we moved on?
No, I think I'm reading all the inputs that everybody is sharing, and I'm very excited. I think I really, really do think that recognition impacts in our performance. Like we cannot separate, the recognition from performance. I think it really impacts directly in how we work, how our motivation at work, everything, So yeah, I'm very happy to look at the answers right now.
I love it. We have an awesome audience here of participants.
Yeah.
There's some really good information being exchanged here. So thanks for everyone who's participating in the chat.
I love that. Okay, so moving on here, just a brief agenda for us today. So it is, a fireside chat, so it's a little bit more conversational, which is really awesome. And we do encourage you to join in the conversation in the chat box as well. So we have three main points here. So we're going to set the stage. We're going to talk about performance management and recognition and how it impacts your bottom line. Framework. So we do want to ensure that feedback loops are inclusive, accessible, and easy to participate in. And then some strategies to build effective feedback loops with performance management and recognition. And of course, at the end, we'll wrap up credits, takeaways, Q&A, and all that good stuff as well. So first poll here, I'm going to start the poll on how effectively is your organization utilizing its feedback loops. I'm going to start the poll, and then I'll also just talk briefly here about feedback loops in case you're not too certain about what that might mean. So you should see the poll here on your screen. So what is a feedback loop? So a feedback loop is the part of a system in which some portion or all of the system's output is used as input for future operations. Generally, each feedback loop has a minimum of 4 stages. And, these stages, you go through the different stages and you analyze the data, and then hopefully you'll make decisions based on that data to move forward.
Yeah, I'm just having a look here at the results, and I know this will be shared with you all in a moment as well. But anything stand out for you so far as you see the results there, Kaori?
No. I want to really know what they think about this.
Let's see here. Need some improvement. Okay, that's good, because that's why we're here, so we can talk about this. You don't have one yet, which also another great reason here. I'm sure we'll get to that at the end on how you can introduce one. And then we have let's see here. Yes. How effective is your recognition program? It's pretty good. Okay. Need some improvement. We don't have one. Okay. Well, we can help with that as well. I like, though, that for the individual who has said they have one, that it is effective and a well-oiled machine. That's great to hear.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if you have any additional thoughts on any of these two, or if anything surprises you, again, don't hesitate to share in the chat too. I'm trying to keep my eye on it. That's why I keep looking over here. It's not me looking at my own picture of me ziplining. It's me looking at the chat.
We should just all be thankful you picked that picture, because I've seen some of the other ones.
Yeah. I think Jessica's referring to just recently. I had a bucket list day where I went to my first ever NFL game, which happened to be a Bills game. And if anyone knows anything about football and NFL, there's a lot of tailgating that goes on before, and the pictures are probably not great for virtual backgrounds. Yeah, go Bills. I think we can share these results, Jessica.
Oh, did I not share them already?
Yeah, with this way.
I had shared them.
Probably shared. There we go. Now they're being shared.
Perfect. Sorry about that.
No, all good. I like that we have another Bills fan in here, Giselle. Cool. All right. Well, I think we can move along here. And again, if anyone has any thoughts or additional thoughts, don't hesitate to continue in the chat here.
Awesome. So first fireside chat here, part one. We're setting the stage here, so we're going to talk about performance management and recognition impacting your bottom line. So the first question, and feel free to also pop in the chat as you're listening to Aaron and Kaori. How does performance management and recognition enhance effective feedback loops in an organization? So Kaori, I'm going to pass this one to you first.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Well, so I don't know if any of you know a little about Factorial. Factorial is a company, it's a startup company. So I don't know if you have already some previous experience in a startup, but something very interesting about a startup is that one day you could be like 20 or 30 people, and then in the next day you can be like 50, and the next day 100, and the next day 1,000. And that is something that happened to us as a startup. So for us, it was a challenge to start teaching, or like, to teach our people about this culture of performance and recognition, because it is really easy, I think, when you have like a plan of how to do it, and how to make people to do this performance review every time, or to do the recognition, how to do it, it's more easy when you have a plan and when you have time to execute that plan. But in our case, it was not like that, and we really had to, start doing like a lot of things to teach people and to motivate people to use these performance reviews tools and recognition tools to manage their people. So we think that we have found that this performance review system was really, really helpful for us. And as I was sharing with Jessica and Aaron before, here in Factorial, and as I shared with you before, we are in a startup, so we really change a lot all the time. So for us, it was very important to have this kind of performance review cycles, like in a very short term. That means that we apply this performance review cycle every 3 months. So we really try to manage and to evaluate and to encourage, to give feedback to all our people, like in a short period of time, you know? So I think for us, it works really, really well. And was also what we were talking with Aaron, that it is not something that it should be that way for all the companies, you know, because we are all different. And the most important thing about these tools like performance or recognition and everything, it's not about the tool. It's about how we can apply to our people to get the best from our people, you know? So yeah, I think that's what we can share regarding this question.
That's a really good response too. And I'm going to circle back on something you mentioned at the start of that, growth and acquisitions. These are really good times to introduce performance management or recognition programs into your organization if you know that growth or acquisition is happening, right? So that it's solidified in the culture and part of the routine, so that as new individuals are being added to the organization, it's already solidified within the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, and even thinking about it as well, on the recognition side of things as well, it's important for recognition to be given from the top down, peer-to-peer recognition, manager to peer, so that basically you're circling everybody in the organization. Feedback is 360 degrees. I like to think of recognition kind of as like your undercover boss. And if anyone's ever seen the show Undercover Boss, what the boss or the CEO often says behind the camera or as he's being interviewed, he's like, I had no idea that all this stuff was happening. No one's ever told me that their job is this hard, or that they're struggling, or that there's great examples or great relationships that are happening. And with a really good performance management system and rewards and recognition, you get to capture all that because your employees are going to share all that. So it's visible to everyone in the organization. And that's one of the things that I really love about it. To me, it's visibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really it's a really great answer from both of you. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think one thing too that, especially from the recognition side, that I think is really key is the 360 degree of recognition aspect as well, right? It's very typical in companies and with performance management and recognition that it's very top down. Your manager is providing you feedback, and that's generally about it. Sometimes some teams will do, recognition or feedback for their coworkers, but that's not very common either. So having a recognition program really allows for there to be recognition every which way. Like, why doesn't a manager deserve to be recognized? They're just as worthy of recognition as the employee, and the employee is just as worthy of recognition from their teammate as they are from a manager as well. And it really does create an effective feedback loop, because it lets people know that it's like a safe space to share how things are going, and allows them to also like feel comfortable that their manager is going to receive this information and do something positive with it, whether it's make a change or highlight it. So it's really a great way if we can get these feedback loops to go 360 every which way here.
That's a good point, Jessica. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be from the top down. I'll share with you all, just recently, I shared recognition within our platform, Bucketlist, for our CEO. So our CEO, who's on Pacific time, jumped on a call with me with someone who was in South Africa, but for him, it was a 5 a.m. meeting, and he had no problem getting up. So no one in the organization may not have known that he did this for me or joined me on this call, but I gave recognition to him in the platform. Everyone was aware of this contribution that he made, which I think is a good example of having given everyone the ability to recognize each other.
Awesome. Well, great answers, everyone. We'll move on to the second question here. And of course, this is an important one. Everybody wants to talk about the numbers, about the bottom line. It's a very important piece as well. So looking at performance management and recognition, how do these affect the bottom line of a business? And are there some metrics or indicators that people should be focusing on when they're looking at performance management and recognition? Aaron, do you want to jump in here first?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. So, when people feel valued for the work they do, they're more likely to stay, and they're going to be more productive. And research shows this as well. You can do any Google search, and I can spit out a whole bunch of stats on it. But even a recent study that I just read states that 39% of employees don't feel appreciated at work. And you can even ask yourselves as you're listening to this call, do you feel like you're appreciated enough, or that you're giving recognition to your peers? And at the same time, too, 4 out of 10 people, when they were not receiving recognition, they start to become disengaged, right? When they're not receiving feedback through their performance management program, or they're not receiving recognition, these type of things start to impact your bottom line and also morale. When your employees become disengaged, or you start to see them kind of not participating, those are some indicators that you're starting to impact your bottom line in the wrong direction.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sure. And also, in this line, Aaron, I also wanted to add, I think, as you was telling about the recognition, and I was telling before about not about the tool, but how people really received it. So I think it's really important for from our side, like from HR people, to really think about how can we really impact our people. And when we really think about that, sometimes for example, I can have some ideas about how can I recognize someone, because that maybe will affect me, and it will be good for me. But as I was sharing with you before, for example, in our company, in Factorial, we really try to customize or create a very specific type of recognition for different kind of areas, and teams, because it is not the same, as I was told you. Yeah, it's not the same to recognize someone from sales that to recognize someone from engineering team or project team. They are more for example, they're sharing everything about Slack. They all talk by Slack because they are not in the office. They are in every part of the world. They work remote, so they use Slack a lot. They use the videos a lot, and in the case of sales, they have this wall of recognition. They have I don't know, some rings, and they are doing it more in the sales team will do. So, and we also try to do this recognition thing, not also just one something from one day, but we try to put inside in our culture. So we try to use this recognition and good feedback all the time, in every moment. And okay, coming back to this question, I think one of the indicators that we, for example, in our case, we use Factorial, our tool, to measure this performance review, and we have a lot of metrics to really to measure the performance, how they are doing, the eNPS, the climate survey. We really try to use the metrics and the indicators in our favor to really create different kind of programs and everything to manage, the talent, to manage the people, how are they doing in one moment, so yeah, I think that's the way I wanted to go.
No, it's good. I mean, we could talk about basically this here and a lot of these other questions we're going to pose probably for the whole hour. And I want to add on too that when you're giving recognition, it should be meaningful. But some of the other ways to make this work is even adding some KPIs around it, right? We worked with a restaurant chain, a really well-known and popular restaurant chain, by the way. I'm sure if you guys started in the chat, you'd probably figure out which one it may be. I will not tell you though. But they started a metric around the managers having to give a certain amount of recognition on a weekly basis. So they added this KPI, in place, and it was simply just give recognition, right? And they can track it all through the system, the performance management and the recognition program, so they could see the activity. And just improving on recognition. I have a fun fact here for you all. Just improving on recognition by 15% in a company can increase margins by 2%. So if you think about that, that's pretty significant. If you can increase your margins as an organization by 2%, and this is by Deloitte, by the way. So I just, I love spitting out some fun facts when they come up, and wanted to share that all with you as well.
That's awesome, Aaron. Oh,
yeah, I was just gonna say, how about yourself, Jessica? I mean, I know you're part of the whole process here at Bucketlist as well, and what are some metrics or indicators that that you've seen companies focus on?
Yeah, for sure. I think, like you mentioned, the KPIs is, a lot of times companies are looking for very like measurable metrics. So KPIs is definitely a great way for the manager side of things to get them involved. I think with that, and to kind of touch on Jenny's question from before in the chat, the hurdle of getting managers on board as well comes down to a lot of education. Of course, if you're just bringing a program in and you just kind of slap it on and send out the invite, then the product adoption will definitely not be as great. But we do find that the more that managers really understand how this impacts the bottom line, how it's going to impact them and their team specifically as well, that they're far more likely to adopt it. So then we find with education plus having some type of metric, maybe like a KPI, then the adoption rate is quite high at that point, which is awesome. And I wanted to throw one more stat out there because Aaron, I know you said a stat already, but I thought this one was also really interesting. And this one comes from Forbes. So it's companies with high performing company cultures experienced a 682% increase in revenue, compared to only 166% increase in revenue for companies without these cultures. That's a massive difference. We know statistically, the main reason people leave a company has a lot to do with their direct manager, of course, and the culture. That's typically the number one reasons that people will leave. And that's also the number one reason why people would stay. So it is definitely impacts the bottom line for sure, how good the culture is.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for sharing that too. And I know we got to move on to the next question here, but I just want to ask this question here for everyone, and you can just drop it in the chat too. It's one of my favorite questions to ask. When you receive recognition, how does it make you feel? Right. So yeah, throw it in the chat there. Let us know how recognition makes you feel, and we'll continue on here in the next slide.
Awesome. Seeing those answers roll in, love it. So our part two here about the framework. So talking a little bit more about ensuring that feedback loops are inclusive, accessible, and easy to participate in. The easier things are for people, the more likely they are to adopt it. So this is a great question to talk about. So we're going to talk a little bit here then about what steps can an organization take to ensure that these feedback loops are going to be inclusive and accessible for everyone. Kaori, do you have some ways here that you can share to help organizations out?
Yeah. Well, for example, I'm gonna be practical right here. Like, as I said before, I think recognition really should be part of the culture. I do believe that. So, what I mean is that if we want this recognition culture to be part of our companies, I think we have to bring recognition everywhere, all the time. So for example, if we as as a company, we have dailies, or we have weeklies, or we have any meeting that we have with our people, we can spend 1 minute, 30 seconds to recognize someone. I mean, sometimes we think that performance management have to be focused, on something that we have to improve. Like, oh, we have to know what we have to improve to be better in the performance, to reach the targets and the goals. And it's okay, it's fine if we really understand what's our weakest point. But if we focus on the best of the people, and we really, and we say it again, and we motivate people every day, it could sound repetitive, but it is not, because even a lot of you were writing in the chat, like how that good words can impact your motivation and your daily life. And it doesn't matter if someone told you yesterday that you did it good. If someone tells you again today, you will be motivated again. Like the good words, it creates the best impact in our teams. Like I think that is the most inclusive and accessible way. Use your words, of course, to guide, to give strategy and to everything, but use your words to really try to enhance, to lift your team and to recognize every little thing that they do. And I think that will change all the culture that you have in your performance and recognition system.
Great answer there too. And that's why it's one of my favorite questions, because I love seeing the answers that people put in the chat about how receiving recognition makes them feel. And this is why I think it's important, to give recognition on performance, when you start looking at the metrics within the platform, or you start to look at the recognition, it just makes people feel good. I think it's also important to consider to meet people where they're at, right? So having different avenues for people to recognize from, different integrations, different ways to recognize each other. You mentioned Slack. Any communication tools like Slack, Teams, Zoom, depending on whatever it is, those are great ways to also recognize individuals as well. And, to your point as well, making it meaningful, use your words, and then broadcasting that to the whole organization, because when you give recognition and you make it visible, well, other people are going to know what's important to you and what's important to the recognition, or to the organization as well, as you start to, put those individuals on a pedestal, because others might emulate those actions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also wanted to ask something, like, of course, I already told you about these words and everything, but I know that we all, work in a company. So I think it's also important to establish some processes, like, for example, this performance cycle for us is every 3 months, or for example, to establish like a good career path for people to know how they are really performing and to receive recognition, not just because, someone wants to give recognition because they get along well, but because how they are really performing, so the career path, the compensation, there are a lot of things that we really as HR people have to work on to give the recognition that people really deserve.
Yeah, no, I love that too. And, I just want to expand on this as well, that having it tie into performance management and recognizing the activities within the platform, it actually lets everyone know what someone's done to, maybe get that raise, or get that promotion, because it's visible to the whole organization, right? So you're not playing favorites, your recognition isn't biased, everyone can see, they can see it all, right? But it's also important to shared feedback on it as well, in those one-on-one meetings, talk about the recognition, how's it making you feel, make it purposeful and timely as well, right? So when you're giving feedback, make sure that it's timely, not like a week later. So it is important for the whole organization to buy in as well. And we could talk about this all day as well. All right, what do you think, Jess? We should move on?
We should probably move on here, although of course I had one thing I wanted to say as well. Just chatty bunch over here. I just wanted to briefly speak to Daniel's point about sometimes feeling more pressure to always perform at an elevated level, which is a very valid,
that's a good one.
A very valid way to feel, for sure. And I think here the way that we try to get around this and reduce this is, especially on the recognition side of it, is recognizing a variety of things going on. So the big things, of course, the things where someone has gone above and beyond and saved the day and all of that, great things to be recognized for, but that shouldn't be the only recognition that is happening. We should certainly be recognizing people for doing their job, right? I know it's sometimes people are like, why would I recognize someone for the job that they're supposed to do? But the reality is that, we still deserve to know that we're doing a great job, even if it is literally our job description. So I think it's really important for companies to take the approach of recognizing everybody for a variety of things. And that takes off a little bit of the pressure, because then it's not, you're just being recognized when you only do something above and beyond. And if you don't do something above and beyond, you never get recognition. So I would encourage companies, if you're, bringing in a program or have something in place already, to really think about it as a holistic thing, recognizing across the board for a variety of things, small things and big things. Okay, so next question here, top challenges we face when we implement these feedback loops. This is going to be a good one, because of course, anytime you bring something in, there are challenges in change management, getting people on board. Aaron, what do you have to say about this one on your side?
Yeah, I mean, this is great. By the way, Jessica, your point you made about recognizing for the job or just what the duties are on a day-to-day, I think is great, because that's one way people know that they're doing a lot of the right things, right? So just give the recognition as it comes up and make it meaningful. I think I saw this actually in the chat a little bit earlier when I was scrolling through. How do you overcome some of these challenges or getting the team to buy in? Well, it is really important to get managers and leadership on board and engaged. It can't just be another thing you have to do, right? It's change resistance. And generally speaking, 70% of change initiatives fail. And that's why, to start, I'd like to say that this is one reason why it's important to find a trusted partner like Factorial Bucketlist, because we deal with this stuff all the time, right? We see this, and we can help you overcome these challenges. A lot of companies try to do this manually, right? Like, even let me just talk about work anniversaries, keeping an Excel spreadsheet on file, or like, on a sticky note, people's birthdays or something, right? Like, there's programs in place and companies that do this stuff that can help you. And that's why we're here as well. Like, let us take some time off your plate, and don't let these initiatives fail. But you also want to make sure that it's well communicated to the whole organization. I think it's important. I'm really big on communication. So if you are planning, or you are going to introduce a new program, whether it's performance management or a rewards and recognition program like Bucketlist, just make sure everyone understands what the purpose is, right? So communication is key. And sometimes you'll also hear that it's always one person getting recognized. And I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. There's bias maybe around it. But when you have a recognition program in place like Bucketlist, you can share the success and make it known to everyone. So this way, you put that person on a pedestal, and if people want to emulate those actions, they know exactly what they have to do. So that was kind of my first long answer here, and I'll pass it over to you, Kaori, see if maybe you want to have something to add on here.
Yeah, I think I am in the same line as you said. Like, I think one of the top challenges is from the managers to get on board with this idea, of recognition and performance and everything. And I think one of the things that is really, really, really helped me from my side is that we are training all the time, and as you said, like the communication and the training that we can give to our managers, to our people, how important it is. We are people first. We really care about you. We are not just trying, because I think the resistance comes from the mindset that it's boring. It really is making me lose time, because I can be doing some other things. I can be doing some more other sales or some other anything, instead of doing this performance review process, So of course, our platform make this process a lot more easier to do it, because you just have to answer some questions, and then the analytics will come up, and you will see all the board of all your team. So it is really easy nowadays to have this kind of insight of how your people are doing, how they are performing, if they are reaching their goals or not, if they're motivated or not, So just sometimes I really have to just sit with some managers and ask them, like, you have a platform, and you don't have to lose time, like sitting with each of your team members and ask, just with one click, you can have all the insight that you have, that you want, that you can manage your work and also your team. So yeah, it's a constant challenge. I don't think it's like, yeah, I mean, one thing that can change everything. I think it's a constant thing that we have to do to get people on board with this.
Love it. I sense your passion around it too. There's a lot of passion in your answer there. So
Yeah.
I know we had to start a few minutes late here because of the technical challenge at the beginning. So I think we'll move along for the sake of time, because we still need to ensure that we share some more slides here and give everyone their credits at the end here.
Perfect. Okay, so the last part of the fireside chat, so how we can actually start to build effective feedback loops with performance management and recognition. So what are some strategies that can be used in these circumstances here? Kaori, do you have any strategies that you can share with us? I know you've shared some of these already, but just to recap some of them for us would be awesome.
Yeah, I think I already shared that. Maybe just one more tip to make it simple. I think, like, we don't need to do like a survey with 100 questions, or like, make it simple. Just 3 questions or 4 questions if you want. But you will be really amazed of what people really write, and how people are really engaged when they just found it easy to do. So they will just open to that. So yeah, I think that's just one more tip about, besides everything that I already did.
Yeah, no, those are great.
Yeah, no, I like it too, because like when you just said make it simple and like keep the to like 3 or 4 questions. I'm thinking about my own experience when I have to answer questions or surveys, or if I go to the grocery store and they're like, here, scan this QR code and provide a survey. And I'm like, all right, fine. I like to provide feedback. And then I see it's like, 20 questions. I'm like, well, you're not making it really easy for me to provide feedback right now. But I still do it because I know they value it. And especially if I share good and feedback, I think it's important.
No, it's definitely important. And I was going to say too, with the strategies that Kaori shared before, about having different, like, the performance management needs to be like for your company, really structured for your company. But I think another thing behind it is has to be really purposeful too, right? Like, we've all been places where you get a survey about something, and like Kaori said, like, sometimes it's really complex, or sometimes it's just not purposeful. Or you do the survey or give the feedback, and the company doesn't do anything with it, or they take a year to do something with it. So it's really important that when you think about your performance management strategy, whether it is surveying people, having one-on-ones, doing, whatever the structure might be, that it's very purposeful and it's engaging for the person that is involved. And it also takes into consideration, how they learn as well, and making sure that the performance management is tailored to that type of person.
Yep.
Love it.
Okay, amazing. And then on the flip side of this, for the recognition side, Aaron, how can people optimize their recognition programs to boost for their people and business?
Yeah, awesome. So having a formal recognition platform or program in place is going to help automate a lot of the things you're already doing right now. So you're going to get time back to focus on the things that you should be spending your time on, right? So we can, help automate birthdays if you want to celebrate those. Milestones, work anniversaries. I spoke with an organization once that missed a 25-year milestone. That's someone that committed 25 years of their life to the organization, and it was missed because they were doing it manually. I get upset if someone misses my birthday, but to miss a 25-year work anniversary, yeah. So automating as much as you can is going to help give some time back to the individuals that are managing it, but also bring recognition outside of the platform. It should be everywhere. And we shared this a little bit earlier, but even make it part of the huddles. Start your huddles or your meetings with some good news or some recognition, right? Make it at the front of your meeting, or even join a meeting 5 minutes early. Just ask how people's days are going, and give recognition there as well. Creating Slack channels or Teams channels for recognition is great. Social media to get people into the habit of giving recognition, but also it's important to tie core values into all of this as well, right? Organizations work so hard to come up with these values of what the mission is or what the organization's all about or what they want everyone to align with. So tying it all back into core values can really help with that too. But we've said this before, leadership has to be involved and they should be participating, right? They should be giving recognition. They should be engaging with recognition. They should be seen so that everyone feels comfortable with this, right? There is that saying, monkey see, monkey do, right? So have your leaders comment or participate, whether it's, calling it out in a meeting or a huddle. So recognition doesn't just feel good, it's good business.
Awesome. It is great business, as we have shown with the stats. Gotta love those stats. Okay, so in the sake of time, want to see if we have a few minutes at the end to maybe answer some questions here. So today's key takeaways. Now, these are some, just doing something fun there. Perfect. Awesome, Aaron. These are takeaways that we have come up with, but of course you have maybe come up with some other takeaways as well. So the first one is that a proper performance management and recognition program equals happier employees. Happier employees are more likely to stay. And we know that that is most beneficial for companies. Building a culture of feedback inside organizations. So this is really important because people need to feel comfortable giving feedback and also know that their feedback is valued and is being used for something purposeful. So the more that you can build a culture of having feedback and doing something purposeful with it, people will be more likely to give feedback and overall improve the business. And then, of course, recognition inspires results. So when people feel valued and recognized, they're just more likely to do the great work that they do already. And it also inspires other people to do awesome work as well. So now we do have another poll here. I'm going to go ahead, just give me one quick second. I'm going to start the poll for everyone.
Oh, I see Mary's already just chatting straight out in the chat here. I love it, Mary. Thanks for giving us a 10 here. And yeah, if you have any key takeaways from this, like if one thing has stuck with you, then this was definitely a good use of your time. I have a background in martial arts, and I asked my sensei one time, like, why do I need to go to these seminars or these training sessions? He's like, Aaron, if you can go and get one thing out of it, it's worth your time. And that's always stuck with me. Senseis always have the best lines.
That's why they're senseis. I did want to, while we're doing this poll very briefly, I did want to touch on, Jennifer did have a question in the chat there about what happens if you give feedback and nothing happens with it in a timely manner. What can you do about that? I think, the first thing is probably touching base maybe with the person that you gave the feedback to and just asking if there's going to be anything out of this or what has happened out of those results. If you also feel like there's no real process to giving feedback, then it's probably not a bad idea to speak to your HR department or maybe the applicable team and talk to them about having some formal feedback process within the company. All right, so I'm going to end the poll here, and
I see, Angel, exactly what you needed to hear. Love it. So obviously you have one really good or maybe multiple takeaways. So glad we're able to help you out there.
Awesome. Aaron, do you need me to share these results?
No, we're good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we have,
yeah, I just wanted to touch on this quickly here. We just wanted to give everyone a bit more context about Bucketlist and how we can support positive feedback loops in your organization. So if you're interested in learning more, let us know in this poll here. Right. So Bucketlist, I'll give you a little bit of a background here. We're an employee rewards and recognition platform. We're going to be supporting managers. This is something that's near and dear to our hearts. I'm sure you can sense the passion from our side here, because recognition is just so important when it comes to helping feel engaged and where they belong, no matter what level they sit in the organization. Earlier, I asked you, well, how does recognition make you feel? So imagine if you could create this culture of recognition in your own organization, how you can make everybody feel. And we know that there's added challenges too when it comes to employee engagement with lots of different generations in the workplace, different interests and needs. So it can be hard to make sure that everyone feels recognized and rewarded in a way that's meaningful to them. And we can certainly help you with that through a variety of reward offerings, donating back to charity or philanthropy or PTOs, right? Having a variety. So again, we're very passionate about helping organizations build the best workplace cultures where managers and their teams feel valued and seen. So yeah, if you'd like to chat further with us, we'd love to hear from you. Just say yes in this poll here and we'll connect after the fact.
Amazing.
That was my passionate speech for the day.
I like it.
I'm
I'll
gonna go ahead
contact you,
and...
Aaron.
Oh, wait, thanks. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, we can end this one now. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. And then of course we have Kaori here from Factorial. So I'm gonna just launch for that poll here. Kaori, I'll let you, if you want anything to say anything here about Factorial, and if anyone is interested, the poll is up on the screen as well.
Yeah, well, just a few words. We are a HR platform, and we are really passionate about technology and the automatization of all the things that an HR person do, so we can focus on the most important thing, which is the persons and the people inside our organization. So as I told you before, we automatize everything, and we really want to make things easier. I mean, not just for people from HR, but also for managers, because I think they can really can focus, as I told you, like performance or the climate, like everything. They can really manage people better if they have better tools. So yeah, if you want to reach us or know a little more about us, yeah, you can contact me or from the LinkedIn.
I just dropped our LinkedIn profiles in the chat. So yeah, if you want to continue the conversation, we're super passionate about this. Just reach out to us and we can chat offline as well. And I know there's been a lot of great questions and dialogue through the chat here as well. So, oh, look, I see someone that is a big fan. That's great. Factorial is a great tool. So you already have a testimonial here. I love it.
Thanks. That's cool.
We'll end this poll here and get to the credits here, and then we'll end off on the last slide.
Perfect. So we have your professional development credits on the screen. I'm also going to pop them in the chat here, and you will also get them via email afterwards as well. So feel free to just make a note of that so you can input those for yourself. And then we do have 1 minute left. What do you think, Aaron? Do you think we can squeeze one question in here?
Yeah, I mean, I still see we have some individuals here, so I'm sure if there's a question you want to tackle, Jessica, I'll do my best to answer it quickly, or if it's for Kaori, then I'm sure she can tackle one as well.
I think this is a good one. I did see someone briefly bring it up in the chat as well, around the whole idea if you don't have the money or the budget in order to implement, maybe a third-party system like Factorial or Bucketlist. Any suggestions on how to still implement these types of things without having a third-party software involved?
All right, yeah. So, having areas or places where people can share recognition is important. So obviously like Slack or Teams or some type of channel or group where individuals can just effectively communicate with each other and broadcast it so it's visible to the whole organization. But in the terms of rewards, I know that, some organizations are going to vary in budgets. And we work with a whole wide range of organizations who have very minimal budgets, nonprofits, right up to companies who have tons and tons of money to spend on rewards. But we do have a low cost and no cost rewards PDF, maybe to help inspire some other ideas. So if you're interested in receiving this document, just drop a yes in the chat here, and we'll try to reach out to you after the fact to give you some insight into some really fun low cost or no cost reward options.
Awesome. We got some yeses going there. Amazing. Lots of yeses. Yes. Yes, that's awesome. There's always something you can do for sure. If you can have a program, it's great. But of course, if not, there's definitely other options in order to have your things working through, which is great. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, we do have lots of stuff on LinkedIn for Bucketlist and, of course, Factorial as well. If you want more tips and tricks and things like that, definitely check out LinkedIn. Otherwise, reaching out to either Bucketlist or Factorial directly if you want to chat more about anything or have any questions, we would love to hear from you. Otherwise, perhaps we'll see you on another webinar. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.